Matheus Cunha is already one of the Premier League's best forwards, and Manchester United just signed him. At Wolves, he wasn't just their top scorer, he was straight up carrying them. Week after week, Cunha dragged that team forward, often on his own, creating chances,
lift the cross in, Sarabia takes it! Oh! Pablo Sarabia!
Scoring screamers.
Semedo got a foot in. Cunha to strike it! Oh, that's superb! Matheus Cunha!
And giving fans something to believe in. So if you're worried about him adjusting to the chaos at United, don't be. He's used to carrying mid players on his back. I know United fans are tired, depressed, and probably not at all excited about another signing, but there are real reasons to believe that Cunha is different, and in this video, we're breaking down exactly why. For one thing, as I said, Cunha is a proven Premier League player. When we look at the history of flops at United, the majority of them were foreign players coming to the Premier League for the first time. Højlund, Anthony, Xerxes, even Sancho to an extent. But Cunha doesn't need time to adapt. He knows how the Premier League works. He knows what is needed to shine at this level. Now, while the lights are much brighter at Old Trafford than any of the places he's been at, Cunha is not afraid of pressure. And when you look at his career, you can understand why. Like many Brazilian talents, Cunha's first love was actually futsal. The small-sided game helped him sharpen his touch and creativity. His flair and creativity were obvious even back then, and that's why at 18 years old, he left the comforts of Brazil to join the Swiss club FC Sion. It was an unusual move for a teenager from Brazil, but it paid off pretty quickly. Cunha adapted to the Swiss Super League and showcased his scoring abilities very early on. In fact, he got a hat-trick in May of 2018. Because he was playing so good, he didn't stay under the radar for long. After a strong season in Switzerland, bigger clubs started watching. By the summer of 2018, teams in Germany were already lining up to sign him, and it was Leipzig, a club known for giving chances to young talents, who made the move. Cunha signed a 5-year deal and took another big step in Europe. But at Leipzig, things didn't come easy. The squad was stacked with talent, and Cunha mostly came off the bench. But whenever he did get a chance, he made sure people noticed. He scored his first Bundesliga goal against Hertha Berlin, which is funny because that's the club that he would eventually join later on. And then of course came the goal that made headlines everywhere. Against Bayer Leverkusen, Cunha picked up the ball, danced past a bunch of defenders, and then chipped the keeper with a beautiful finish. The goal was so good that it won Goal of the Month and was even nominated for the Puskas Award. But even with those flashes of brilliance, regular minutes were hard to find. Cunha wanted to play more, so in January of 2020, he moved to Hertha Berlin, and that's where things really took off. Hertha were struggling in the league, but Cunha was a spark. A very common theme in Cunha's career. The Brazilian, he's like Robin Hood. He loves going to poor teams and then helping them out. So smile, United fans. Anyways, at Hertha, he scored 12 goals in 39 games and quickly became a fan favorite. He wasn't just scoring, he was working hard, he was pressing defenders, and he was showing real fight. In fact, his performances earned him a regular spot with Brazil's under-23 team. And then came a very proud moment in his career. In the summer of 2021, he played for Brazil at the Tokyo Olympics. He scored 3 goals, including one in the final against Spain, and helped his country win the gold medal. It was a huge moment for him. I mean, he had already done more for Brazil than Vini did, and those performances, it helped him get the attention of some of Europe's biggest clubs. Just a few weeks later, Atletico Madrid came calling. Another big move was on the horizon. In August of 2021, Atletico Madrid signed him for around 30 million euros. At the time, Atletico were the champions of Spain. It was a huge step up, from the lower end of the Bundesliga table to the top of La Liga. Cunha was going to play in the Champions League. He was going to play for Diego Simeone, a man who was known for tough, disciplined football. This was a different world for the Brazilian. In Germany, he had more freedom. At Atletico, every player had to defend, press, and follow strict tactics. He actually started strong, scoring his first goal in a 2-2 draw against Levante. He didn't get that many minutes though. When he played, you could see the flashes of his quality. Clever touches, quick feet, dangerous runs. After all, the guy is Brazilian. He has a reputation to maintain. Still though, breaking into the starting lineup was tough. Atletico had big names up front. They had Uruguayan Luis Litt, João Felix, Angel Correa, and then of course Antoine Griezmann. The competition was fierce, so Cunha ended up being left on the bench a lot. In just 2 seasons, he started just 11 league games. That hurt him. He was young, hungry, and full of talent, but he wasn't playing enough, and it had consequences. Even though he had won gold with Brazil, he didn't make the squad for the 2022 World Cup. He admitted later that this crushed him. The dream of playing on the biggest stage for his country slipped away, and it wasn't because he wasn't good enough, but it was because he didn't get a chance to show his actual ability. It was a tough chapter in his career, but Cunha wasn't ready to give up yet. What he needed was a fresh start, somewhere he could play every week, enjoying his football again, so he could prove to the world what he really could do, and that chance would come in England. In January of 2023, Cunha left sunny Spain to join Wolves, who were in the middle of a Premier League relegation fight. The team was struggling for goals and sitting near the bottom of the table. Pretty much sounds like the exact situation he walked into at Hertha. It wasn't the kind of flashy move people expected from a player who had just been at Atletico Madrid. I mean, he had gone from Champions League football to eating fish and chips and playing scrappy football at the bottom of the Premier League. But Cunha didn't care. All he wanted was a chance to play regular football again. The deal initially started as a loan, but it came with a big promise. Wolves were ready to make it a permanent move for £43 million. This was a big investment for a club fighting to just stay in the league, but Lopetegui believed in Cunha from day one. He called him a complete forward, and he felt that Cunha had the strength, skill, and intelligence to not only survive in the Premier League, but really thrive in it. Cunha made his debut just a few days after arriving, coming off the bench in a draw against Aston Villa. Right away, the speed and intensity of English football hit him. This wasn't like La Liga or the Bundesliga. The game was faster, was more physical, more demanding, but he didn't back down. He showed glimpses of what he could do. Quick passes, clever movement. The goals, though, didn't come right away. His first goal for the club came in March, and it was a pretty unimportant goal. They ended up losing that match 4-2 to Leeds. He actually ended the season with just 2 goals in 17 appearances. Not exactly eye-catching numbers, those are Hoyland numbers, but those who watched him closely saw what he could do. He was working hard, he was pressing defenders, he could beat his man. I know United have been itching for a winger who can actually beat his man other than Ahmad. It was clear that whenever he was on the pitch, he gave Wolves a spark in their attack. And more importantly, the team stayed up. So Cunha had another season to really make his mark. Off the pitch, things weren't easy. He was adapting to a new country, a new language, and a very different style of football. He later admitted that it was a tough few months, adapting to not just the Premier League, but to Lopetegui's system. He didn't feel fully settled, and he wasn't yet the player that he wanted to be. But just when things seemed stuck, everything changed. In the summer of 2023, Lopetegui left the club. Wolves brought in a new head coach, Gary O'Neill, and that decision would change everything for Cunha. Lopetegui may have been the one that brought Cunha to England, but it was O'Neill who truly unlocked his potential. From day one, O'Neill understood what made Cunha tick, not just as a footballer but as a person. O'Neill told him that he knows that Cunha is an incredible person, but that he needs affection. For the Brazilian, this was everything. He later said that O'Neill made him feel like family, and for the first time in a very long time, football felt fun again for him. And you could see it. From the very start of the 2023-2024 season, Cunha looked like a new player. Sharper, hungrier, playing with more confidence. He scored Wolves' first goal of the campaign in a tight loss to Crystal Palace. But then he kept going. In January, he delivered in the FA Cup. First, a late penalty in extra time against Brentford, then a huge goal in a derby win over West Brom. But his real breakout moment came at Stamford Bridge. On February 4th, 2024, Cunha destroyed Chelsea. He scored a hat-trick, the first of his Premier League career. A close-range finish, a rocket from outside the box, and a calm one-on-one. 3 completely different goals, all showing different sides of his game. He became only the second Wolves player ever to score a Premier League hat-trick, and one of the very few to ever net 3 at Chelsea's ground. It was the kind of performance that really turned heads. By the end of the season, Cunha had silenced any doubts about his goal-scoring ability. He finished with 12 goals and 7 assists in the Premier League. He was Wolves' top goal scorer, their top creator, their most important player. In total, he had a direct hand in 19 league goals. These numbers are massive for a club that wasn't even in the top half of the table. And it's not like he was playing as an out-and-out number 9 for Wolves. He wasn't sitting in the box waiting for chances. He was everywhere, dropping deep in midfield to collect the ball, then carrying the ball forward himself. According to Opta, he carried the ball nearly 2 kilometers over that season, more than any other Wolves player. Over 50 of those carries were long driving runs of 10 plus meters that helped Wolves push forward. These numbers just put into context just how much he was carrying their attack. During that period, he also developed a serious long-range threat. He scored 3 goals from outside the box, more than any other player in the league that season. And these weren't lucky deflection goals, they were worldies. A screamer against Aston Villa.
Cunha striking! Oh, Cunha scoring!
A curling shot against Southampton.
Allowed to turn and face goal and shooting and scoring a beauty.
A thunderbolt past Fulham.
Cunha sweeping it. Oh my word!
O'Neill encouraged him to shoot, and Cunha didn't need to be asked twice. He took more than 3 shots per 90 minutes, despite not even being a classic striker. These shots weren't easy ones either, by the way. His average chance had a lower expected goal value than 0.08, meaning that he was often shooting from very tight angles or from very long range. And yet Cunha outperformed his expected goals by nearly 3, proving that he could score the kind of goals that others just can't. And it wasn't just about his flair and finishing at this point though. Under O'Neill, Cunha embraced the gritty side of football too. He worked harder off the ball, he tracked back, he pressed from the front. In fact, he started putting up better numbers for interception recoveries than even the likes of Martin Odegaard and Bernardo Silva, players who, while technically brilliant, are also known for their defensive efforts. Cunha was transforming from not just being an attacker, but being a complete forward. And the thing is, when Wolves needed him the most, he delivered. Over that season, no Premier League player scored or assisted more equalizing goals than Cunha. 5 times he pulled Wolves back into the game. He had the clutch gene, which is rare to find and priceless. By the end of the season, Gary O'Neill couldn't praise him enough. He was glazing up more than I am in this video. It's funny, when you look at O'Neill's comments from back then, even he knew that Cunha wouldn't stay at Wolves forever. The Brazilian finished the 2024 season with 14 goals in all competitions, and his hot form carried into the next campaign too. By March of 2025, he had already scored 13 Premier League goals, putting him on track to break the record for the most goals scored by a Brazilian in a single Premier League season, which is 15 shared by Firmino and Martinelli. Well, Cunha matched it. By the end of the season, he had 15 league goals, 17 goals in all competitions. At that point, there was no denying it anymore. Cunha was Premier League proven, and Manchester United were watching. For Wolves, Cunha played as a left-sided number 10 in a 3-4-2-1. That's where he did the bulk of his damage. And what's great is that Amorim will be playing him in that exact role. Yes, the Brazilian is super versatile. He can play on the left, on the right, down the middle. But Amorim is clearly bringing him in to upgrade that left number 10 role. Because we all know that he's not going to play Rashford, and Garnacho is pretty much gone. And to be honest, it wouldn't have mattered. Cunha is a better player than both of them. United fans already got a taste of what this guy can do when he scored directly from a corner against them on Boxing Day.
A lot of players around Andre Onana as the ball goes in towards them. Oh, it's gone all the way through! Matheus Cunha!
That's the South American flair I was telling you guys about. Or maybe Onana can't save a Word document. Can't really decide which one. Now that was against Amorim's United. He also terrorized Ten Hag's United in the 2024 season. This guy is the perfect player to link the midfield and the forward line. And he's already very comfortable playing in a 3-back because that's what Wolves use. So he doesn't need time adapting. His ball carrying is actually what makes him the perfect fit in Amorim's system. The Portuguese manager usually likes to balance his number 10s, one who can create and another who runs in behind. Well, luckily for him, Cunha can do both. He's a very confident dribbler, he can easily beat players, but he also knows how to time his runs and get into goal scoring positions when he doesn't have the ball. It's a very nice combination to have, and it adds real energy to the United attack. And more importantly, he brings goals, something that United have desperately lacked in their attack. And his numbers have been very good in the past few seasons. Yes, in his first half season on loan, he scored just 2 goals, but then he exploded. 12 goals in his first full Premier League season, and then 15 in the next. That kind of growth shows consistency, maturity, and real quality. Because remember, Wolves spent the majority of time in the lower half of the table. Cunha was shooting from long range distances from anywhere, trying to make something happen. But that's a great quality because he can score in all kinds of ways. Inside the box, he has a striker's instinct, quick finishes, smart movement. He knows how to read the game well. And like I told you guys, he's not just a poacher. His best quality is actually what he can do from outside the box. If you give this guy an inch of space, he will punish you. He took hard chances and made them look easy. He is somebody that can create something out of nothing, and United desperately need a player like that. Now, of course, there are a few concerns. Cunha has shown flashes of frustration. He's crashed out a few times. He picked up bans for his reaction in a game against Ipswich Town and Bournemouth, and there's always been this narrative that he can do more defensively. Although I would argue that when you're on a really bad team, it's hard to motivate yourself to run off the ball when you're doing everything for the team on the ball. But those moments haven't defined him. Yes, he is a bit of a hothead, but United actually kind of needs players like this. They need actual competitive players in the locker room. Someone who hates to lose more than they love to win. People complain about his defensive work rate, but in 2024 under Gary O'Neill, he had made more interceptions and ball recoveries per 90 minutes than both Odegaard and Bernardo Silva. He was running a lot, and he can do it. So in a new environment, with a coach like Amorim, there is no doubt that he'll buy in. I mean, after all, he's coming to United after they missed out on any kind of European football. As with all United signings though, it's tough to be sure of anything. What I see though is compared to previous deals, this one seems much more calculated. It's a gamble like any other United United signing, but it's a calculated gamble. He's a proven Premier League player, someone who doesn't need time to adjust to the culture or country, and a player who is already comfortable with Amorim's 3-back system. Now, the good thing for Cunha is he will be teammates with Amad Diallo, a player who is much better than any teammate that the Brazilian had at Wolves. To see how Amad was one of the few shining players on a very poor United team, you gotta check out this video right here.